Hey, how's it going, folks? Well, today on the latest episode of Talk is Jericho, he had Jon Moxley as a special guest, and he had like a tell-all interview with Moxley speaking about the last year in the WWE and basically what made him leave the company. He went very in-depth into his dislike for scripted promos, WWE's creative process, and Vince McMahon himself. And the interview didn't pull any punches on his thoughts. He revealed quite a bit about leaving the company, his thoughts on the Nia Jax angle, the segment that solidified his exit, as well as Vince McMahon wanting him to say additional lines about Roman Reigns' cancer. The full link to stream is in the comments below, but let's go over some of the highlights. The first being how grateful he was in the WWE, and at the beginning of the interview he was very grateful for his time in the WWE. Not everything was unhappy, and he was talking about how he met his wife Renee Young in the WWE, as well as working with a lot of people he considers friends, so he was happy about that. But before that, he did speak on some other things that made him upset, and one of them was deciding to leave last July while he was injured. He thought to himself he wasn't going to re-sign with the company. He was going to leave the company, but he wasn't going to ask for his release. Rather, he would ride it out and then just leave once his contract was over. Another thing he did speak about was a lot of the creative process with the WWE, including a very distasteful promo about Roman Reigns having cancer. And there was another promo that Vince McMahon wanted him to say that involved Roman Reigns' cancer, which he ultimately said he wouldn't do. And he said that if he did state it, that WWE might have been in jeopardy of losing some of their sponsorships, as it was that bad, and maybe somebody might have got fired if that promo did air. He didn't state on the program exactly what the promo was, but he did state how disgusted he was with the whole Roman Reigns cancer angle, how they were speaking about it. Obviously, Roman Reigns' sickness is real, but he was very unhappy about how they brought that into different segments with him, how Vince McMahon wanted him to basically speak about Roman Reigns having cancer to make Moxley or Ambrose look more like a heel, so he wasn't happy about that. And he also felt like his angle with Nia Jax was something that they did in order to bury him. And he did praise Nia Jax for her work, and he said he had no problems taking bumps for her. But at the time when they did do that angle, it was around the time when he initially told WWE he wasn't re-signing, and the internet was already speaking about it. And then that Monday night, Nia Jax basically attacked him, and he said that the timing was extremely fishy. He has nothing against Nia Jax, but the timing alone, he believes WWE was out to bury him. And his dislike for his time in the WWE as far as the creative process goes and as far as working for Vince McMahon, he did state that if they even paid him $10 million on this new contract, he wouldn't have stayed. He would have left. And he did state the money wasn't a motivation for him, and that his house is paid off, his mom's house is paid off, his truck is paid off, and he has no use for that amount of money in order to stay. Obviously, we don't know how much the WWE offered him, but he said that basically he wouldn't have stayed even for $10 million. And ultimately, Vince McMahon is the problem. The creative process in the WWE is broken, and one of the biggest challenges was a lot of the scripted promos, and he would have to go into Vince's office to get promos rewritten. He felt almost like he wasn't a professional wrestler anymore. He had to deal a lot with writers, and he wasn't happy with that. And even before he came back after injury, he flew himself to Stamford, Connecticut on his own dime to meet with Vince McMahon. And he pitched a bunch of ideas to Vince, and Vince McMahon basically, everything was good at the meeting, but then once he arrived on TV, nothing really changed and his ideas weren't used. And ultimately, the straw that broke the camel's back was on November 26th, 2018. This was back when Ambrose was doing the gimmick where he was wearing the gas mask and he was talking about how disgusting the fans were. And there was a segment where he was inside of a doctor's lab or a doctor's office and he had to get a rabies shot. And he said that that was the segment that basically broke the camel's back as far as how much he hated that promo. He found he had to leave and go into a quiet place in the arena just to even look at the script, and he was pretty much disgusted on exactly what they wanted him to do. That he hated the comedy shtick that they had him doing, and he wasn't a fan of that at all. And when the WWE finally did offer him a new contract, he was waiting for them to offer him a new contract. He heard that WWE was beginning to offer new deals to people who needed to resign, and he was itching for them to offer him a new deal just for him to turn it down. And he says he got the envelope and he didn't even open it, so he doesn't even know what's inside as far as a contract goes, and he didn't even open it. So that was one of the major takeaways as far as this interview with Chris Jericho. One final thing was his payday from his last match in the WWE. They had a whole network special, The Shield's Farewell. He stated he only got $500 for the match, and he kind of joked about it, stating like prelim guys or enhancement talent or even somebody who just shows up, that's the type of payday they got. And he said it was kind of like almost like a kick in the ass, for him to get only $500 on his last match. And prior to announcing that he was Jon Moxley once again, back in February when he was still with the WWE, he actually filmed that vignette and he spent $8,000. He got his friend Nick Mondo, who is also a former CZW wrestler. They got together and they filmed that in Los Angeles when he had 2 days off from the WWE. So he knew exactly what he was doing, how he was going to come back, and ultimately, if you haven't listened to the interview, link is in the description below. I suggest you listen to it. It was a great interview with Chris Jericho. That being said, what do you think? If you did listen to it, drop a comment below. And don't forget to DDT that like button and subscribe. Join the notification squad to be notified of new videos. And have a great day.